Mathematics. My name is Jeanine Ferrara, and I'm the Director of Product Management for Math and Technology. We also have with us Jillian Geiger, who is our Product Specialist, who will be assisting me today with any questions and answers. So before we get started, I just want to let you know that everybody's audio is automatically on mute. And if you have any questions, we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. Just type them in the chat box. So let's begin. Sadlier's online student assessment system is a web-based system which allows users to create tests, worksheets, assignments online, and also allows users to assign those assignments to students where they can complete these assignments online through a secure portal. And their assignments are automatically scored and recorded in the teacher's gradebook, so that the teacher can generate various reports. What I like about the system that it's web-based. So being web-based, there's no CD-ROMs or no disks to worry about. There's also no software install or hardware to worry about either. And it's available 24/7 wherever you have access to the internet on any device, including tablets and iPads. So let's get started. Sadlier's online student assessment system is located at the URL sadlierassessments.com. So once you receive an authorization code from Sadlier, you would come in here and you would log in as a teacher. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to log in as a teacher. And once you log in, you're taken into the test generator section of the online student assessment system. And while this loads, I will come in here and I'll show you that up here on the right-hand corner, you're taken into your test generator section. There's also your classes and assignments, and that's where you're going to enter your students that are in your class and launch your assignments. And then there's the reporting feature where you're going to generate reports. And I'm going to take you through all three sections. So again, once you sign in as a teacher, you're taken to this interface. It's three panels. You have your question set panel, your testing panel, and your working area panel. For whatever products of Sadlier's that you purchase, and this is very nice if you're using more than Progress in Mathematics, there's one sign-on and you have access to all our products. So if you're a grade 3 teacher and you're using our grade 3 Progress in Mathematics and our grade 3 vocabulary workshop, you would have one sign-in and you would have access to our banks, all our banks. So we're going to focus on Progress in Mathematics today. And if you come over to your question sets, you'll see that your question sets are organized according to the lesson sequence of the print book. So if I scroll down here, you'll see that these are all the items that are available for all the lessons in Progress in Mathematics. Each lesson in Progress in Mathematics has two items. One is static and one is dynamic. And when I say dynamic, I mean that those items are algorithmic based, that the values can automatically be changed so that one, depending on the parameters that I set with this formula, so one item can generate possibly an infinite number of items depending on the parameters that I set. So these are all the questions. There's over 550 questions per grade level for each in the question sets. The testing, all our Progress in Mathematics tests are available in the online student assessment system. And what's great about this is that all our print tests that are in our program, our Check Your Progress, our cumulative reviews, our post-tests, and our chapter tests, these all appear in the print books, in the student editions. They appear in the post-test appears in the teacher's edition. They are now online. And what's great about this is that our assessments now just became alive. So that means that they're interactive, they're automatically scored and recorded in the teacher's gradebook. So let's build a test. There are two ways that you could build a test. I can come in here and I can create a new test. And I'm going to give my test a name. And I'm going to call it Math Test Jeanine. And I'm going to tell, just like you would your folder structure on your computer, I'm going to tell the computer where to file the test. I'm going to tell them to put it in My Test. And I have 3 options for building a test. The first way I'm going to show you right now is I'm going to build an empty test, and I'm going to click Finish. So what that does, it takes me back to my working area in my test generator, where this main spot is where I'm going to be doing all my work. It's my working area. The name of my test is Math Test Jeanine. And I can come over here and I could look at the items that I have available to me for my particular grade level. So say, for example, I'm in grade 1, Chapter 1, and I want to see the items that we have available. I'm going to actually pull and drag my item over into my working area to view my item. And I can continue to pull and drag items over into my working area to build my test. So for example, if I want all the items that I have for this Lesson 1, I can quickly build a test or a worksheet or a homework assignment on Lesson 1 as I'm pulling the items over. Each item in the program is tied to a lesson objective. So right now I just quickly built a test of 4 items just by clicking and dragging items from my question set over into my working area. But I'd like to show you another quick way to build a test based on a lesson objective. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create a test. And I'm going to again call it Common Core Standards Homework Math, just to make sure I'm in the right subject. And I'm going to again tell it to put this test in My Test. And I'm going to build a test according to specific question information. So I'm going to click Next. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to open my question sets. And I want to, for example, let's go into grade 3. And let's choose, say I'm working in Chapter 4 today. And I want to see all the questions I have on the Common Core State Standards. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to choose Common Core State Standards. And now it tells me all these standards in our grade 3, Chapter 4 in Progress in Mathematics covers these Common Core State Standards. So now, for example, maybe I just want to build a short test, maybe as a prerequisite, or to take the temperature of where my students are with a specific standard. Maybe I'm going to focus on Standard 3, Grade 3, Operations in Algebra, Standard 3. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just take a sample, and I say I'm only going to have 5 items on this quiz or homework page. And I'm going to click Next. And this is a summary of what I just did. This is the title of my test. It's called Common Core Standards Homework Math. And my folder, it's in My Test. And I'm taking 5 items that are going to assess the Common Core State Standards for Operations in Algebra. And I click Finish. And the system is automatically going to build me a test that assesses the Common Core State Standards for that. And as I scroll down, you could see the different items that are available for that one particular Common Core State Standard. Every item in the program is tagged with what I call metadata. If I'm going to click on this information icon here, and I'm going to show all the information that's available for each item. So as I scroll down here for this first item, you'll see that we have constructive feedback, so that when a student answers a question, the student does not just get incorrect. We give them constructive feedback to try and help them, guide them in answering the question. And it's also tied to our learning objectives. Those are our book objectives and the Common Core State Standard. So you could create assignments based on a learning objective, based on a Common Core State Standard. Every item is tagged with both, and that will help us generate reports. The more information that each item is tagged with, the better reporting structure that we can have. So now we've created a test. Let's go assign a test. There's not a save button here, so my test is automatically saved if I come under here, under My Test. And you see here, it says on the left here, it says Common Core Standards Homework Math. It's grayed out because it's in use here, but it automatically saved it under My Test. Very easy, again, like a filing structure like your computer. So I'm going to close out of this test, and now let's assign a test to our students. I'm going to come up here under Classes and Assignments. And you know what, I'm going to back up just 1 second, and I'm going to bring over my test 1 second. I did want to say I'm going to bring over my Common Core Math homework test just one more time. Again, it's a click and drag. I pull it over to view it. You can create your own items, your own questions. There are over 15 different question templates available, from true, false, to multiple choice, to essay. So when we move into performance-based assessments can be created using this test generator. And the essay type questions come with a default rubric. So you can create your own rubric, or you could use a default. So I should have mentioned that before I moved over now into the Classes and Assignments. So now let's move over to Classes and Assignments, and we're going to assign my Common Core tests right now. Again, you have the same interface that you did for the test generator. You have 3 panes. You have your Classes pane, your testing. This is all the tests that either you created or we, the publisher, provided for you, and you have your working area. So I've already created a class, so we're not going to create a new class, but I'm going to drag my class over into my working area. And what I get when I drag my class over into my working area, I come up with this first tab, and I could view all the assignments that I've assigned to date so far. But we want to assign that homework assignment. We're going to come over here into Roster. So under Roster, I have all my students that are in my class. We can help you import your class data, should you have that in a comma, what we call a CSV file, which is a comma-separated file, which is kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. Or you can enter your students manually down here by clicking on New Student. So now let's assign our test. The easiest way to assign our test is to come under My Test, because that's where I filed it, find my test, and drag it over into my working area. And now I come up with this screen. It says give it a name. So I'm going to give it Homework, Grade 3. I believe we did it on Operations in Algebra .3. So just to give me a little information about the test, the homework. My source test is Common Core Standards Homework. That was what I named the test. And then I'm given 2 options. I can record the assignment. I can have students take the assignment, and then it would be recorded in my gradebook. Or I can just create a study guide so that students can take the assignment, but it would not be recorded in the gradebook. So, for example, you would use that if you just want students to practice. Now, these 3 fields down here are optional. I can come in here and I could label homework. I don't have to touch this at all. I can call this marking period 1 if I'd like, what term it is, and it's in English. And I go on to the next screen. The default is everybody in my class is assigned this assignment, but if I wanted a customized instruction, I could exclude everybody and then just come in here and say, well, yes, I think Robert needs a little extra help, and Lisa needs a little extra help on this standard. So I'm just going to focus on these 2 students, and I'm going to record the results for reporting purposes. Now I put the parameters on my assignment. How many times can the student take this assignment? Once. If it's a formal assessment, maybe I only wanted to assign it once. But if it's more like a practice, you might want to let them take it as many times as you like to get them to practice on a skill. I could identify a start and an end date for the assignment. So I could say, I'm going to assign this to you on Tuesday. It's due Monday when you come back to school. The nice thing about this also is that you could use a time limit. So as we're preparing for a state test or the national test where sections are timed, we can create an assignment and say, you need to be able to complete X amount of problems in, say, 30 minutes, because that's what you're going to be tested on. I can also allow students to check their responses, and that's where I was showing you the feedback. That's the feedback that the students would receive when they take the test. And this is nice, too. Students can scramble their questions. The system can scramble the questions so that no 2 students will have the same test. If you're giving this in a computer lab or students are sitting next to each other, no 2 students will have the same order of questions. And now this screen just tells me that I'm going to create what do we want to present to the student after the student takes the test, an assignment score only or an end of assignment report. I'm just going to provide them with a % score. And now I come up with a summary screen. My name of my assignment is homework, grade 3. My source test is Common Core Standards homework. I've given it to a limited number of students in my roster. We're going to record it for reporting purposes. The assignment can be taken once. It's available anytime. There's no limit on there's no time limit on the assignment, and students may not check their responses. And the questions will be scrambled. So when a student completes the assignment, they would get a % score. So now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to email invites to students. So now I'm prompted to say, and I'm prompted with this box that says all students that I assign this to have just received an email telling them that they received an assignment. If for some reason your school does not allow emails, you're able to print an invitation sheet to give to the students, which will tell them to go to sadlierassessments.com and to use their username, and I don't know if that's make it a little larger for you. Use their username and password and enter this assignment code, and they do not need an email to access the assignment. They will take it online, but they do not need an email address to access the assignment. So now I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to click Finish. And if I come underneath here and under my assignments, and I scroll down, I should be able to find that my Common Core math homework should be all the way down here on the bottom. Of course, I think I passed it. My assignment is in my list. So now I want to show you what the student view looks like. So now if I come in here as a student, I'm trying to find that assignment. If I come in here as a student, I'm going to check for my email because I should just receive an email assignment, and this is what the student will see. This is the email a student will see that say that you've just been assigned an assignment, and if I click here on my assignment, I should be taken to the test, and it says, are you ready to start your assignment? I say yes, and this is a grade 1 test that I had assigned myself earlier. And so the students will see one question at a time. If you see here, there's 12 questions on this test. Each question that I have not answered is green. If I randomly want to come in here and choose questions and move on to the next one, you'll see that the first question is grayed out. I can go back here and change my answer should I not be satisfied with that answer. And again, I could just come in here and select my answers, and I do not have to go in any order, and I'm just going to come in here and randomly choose some answers. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to click Finish to be mindful of the time. Are you sure you want to finish your assignment? Yes, I am. And it gives the student a score. We did have the option, remember, to give the students a complete detailed report. I did not do that, but the student just sees the score. So now I want to come back in here, and I'm going to log back in here as a teacher, and I'm going to go to my report. So now that I could generate a report on the assignments that I just assigned to my students. So once this loads, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to come into my reporting feature. And again, to do anything, I need to drag my class over into my working area. And at a glance, I could see who has taken assignments and who has not. So for example, if I come down here from my math test, I could see that there's still some students that have not taken that test. But everything is recorded in my gradebook. So let's come in here, and I could generate reports on individual students or a group of students. So let's generate a report on a group of students, and I would like to do a proficiency report. So I'm going to do a proficiency report on not all my assignments. I just want to do a proficiency report on my math test that I gave to my students. And it's going to report on my learning objectives, any state standards I have in there, my Common Core state standards. It's going to give me all that in the report. The minimum proficiency level is set at 70. That can be adjusted. If you want to challenge more students, you can increase it, or if you need to lower it for any reason, you can. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to generate my proficiency report. So what that tells me is, for this Common Core state standard, I do not have any non-proficient students. Out of 9 of my 9 students who took this test, all 9 are proficient with this standard. For Common Core state standard Operation Algebra 6 for grade 1, I have 2 students that are not proficient with this standard. So that means I could go back and I could modify my teaching. I can go back to my test generator and create additional practice worksheets just based on this one Common Core standard. So the first page of this report is on the Common Core state standards. The second page of this report ties it to our book objectives, our lesson objectives. So you will know exactly which lessons to go back and cover. These reports can be exported. You could save them as PDFs, which is nice if you want to print it out and put it in a student's portfolio, or if you need to print it out and give it to a parent or an administrator who needs to see how well students are doing on the Common Core assessments or any standards that you may have. So now I'm going to click Done. And then I'm just going to come back in here because I've taken you through the test generator, I've taken you through the classes and assignments, and I've taken you through, and we're in the reporting section. But I'd like to just go back to the test generator section for 1 minute before I open it up to questions. If for whatever reason your students do not have access to a Common Core state standard, I'm going to just drag my test over here to show you how you could print these tests. I can come in here and I can click File, Print to PDF. I could print a single version, or I can print multiple versions. And again, printing multiple versions scrambles questions, allows you to scramble questions as well, so you don't have to be online for that. And I'll just show you quickly what a printed test looks like. I want to leave answer spaces for questions, and I'm going to print the answer key for myself. When you do print an assessment, the score has to be manually entered. Of course, that the students are not completing that online. So if this is just generating the PDF quickly, we'll let that generate so I could show you that. And then I also, after it prints the PDF, I will show you that you can go in and you can tag any item according to, okay. So, and this is what your assessment would look like. This is what your print assessment would look like. Depending on how many questions you have on the test is depending on how long your test would be. Okay, so let's go back into the test generator. And remember I was talking about dynamic questions. I just wanted to show you that this is a test of dynamic items. So if I came in here and I said recalculate items, these values, 3 and 3 and 4 and 2, and anything that's dynamic will change its value. So I can create another test. So you see how this changed to 2 and 3 and 4 and 2. So that means that there's an algorithm behind it, and I just changed the values of these tests, the values of the item. And one other thing before we open it up, each item has what I call metadata behind it. It's the data about the item. If I come in here under Info and Objectives, you can enter your own. This is what the item is tagged to. It's tagged to our student book. It's tagged to our book objective, and it's tagged to Common Core, these items. But you can come in here and you can put your own standards in, your local standards, should you like to do that, should you choose to do that. And you can also put in some notes if you want to about a specific item or anything else that you might choose. So that is our online student assessment system for progress in mathematics. Like I said, I've taken you through the test generator section, building a test. I've taken you in the classes and assignments where we assigned a test or a worksheet, and then I've shown you how we could generate reports. So right now, I'm going to open it up to any questions for the last, I guess, 5 minutes of our presentation. Jillian, not quite sure. Do we have any questions?
We have two, actually.
Okay.
One is that, is it possible to make a question a free choice at all, instead of having
Absolutely.
a choice
so
question?
So that is under, if I come under here, questions and new questions, I can come up here underneath numeric response, and that is the free response answer. We do have those options available, yes.
Okay.
And the subjective short answer is there as well.
Okay. And the students don't see any answers whatsoever?
No, that is a good question. You're in the student view. When I went online to take the test, and it showed one question at a time with those green dots and then left navigation bar, that's the only thing students will see. Students will never see any items, any answers, and students will never see any objectives either, or anything that the item is tagged to.
Now, when there's, like you get the assessment link, is that specific to each individual student, or can somebody post a general link on a wiki that they post homework or assignments to and have the students log in to take the test that way?
You can definitely do that. The link is unique to the test, but students would then have to put in their own login ID and password so that students can take it individually online, and their responses can be upgraded, automatically recorded and posted in your grade book. So yeah, that's a really good question. The link can be posted somewhere, but the students need to know their username, their ID, or password, and password to log in to take the test.
Is the online test generator included in the cost of the student books, or is it an extra fee?
Right now there's an extra fee, but you could definitely speak to your sales representative for different bundles that we can offer you. But it is a separate purchase, but we are open to bundling our student textbooks and the online student assessment system.
Where can you find the CSV file to populate the student data?
So your CSV file is, I think you would provide that to us. So if you have an Excel spreadsheet, I think you could export it as a CSV file. And our IT people, our programmers, can definitely help your school with this. And then you would import it into the classes and assignments. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. Into your classes and assignments. When we come into here, we drag our class over. And I go into my roster, and I import, then we can help you with that. Okay?
Okay. If I already purchased the test generator, do I have access to the online generator?
If you already purchased our CD-ROM test generator, I would say speak to your sales representative, and we will work with you to transition you to the online student assessment system.
Will you have at some point 7th and 8th grade an algebra version?
We are moving into, right now we have grades 1 through 6, and we are developing 7 and 8 in algebra. And I do not have an end date on that, but as soon as I do, I will make that available to everybody.
Is there a category for classwork in addition to homework and tests for assignments? Like, is there a way to decipher what is what in the system?
Yeah, that's a good question. Right now, the system comes with, I think, those 4 or 5 different set assignment identifications. Excuse me. But I think when you name your test, until we come up with more, I think that you can track that when you name your test. You can call it a quiz or a homework or a worksheet or test. We'll have to at this point right now, categorize it that way, and when you name your test.
Okay. Looking, I'm sorry.
That's right. I appreciate everybody participating today. And if you'd like more information on this system, if you do go to sadlierassessments.com, and let me see if I could just go back there. If you go to sadlierassessments.com, and if you click on more information and you fill out the form there, a sales representative will contact you, or you can contact your sales representative directly. We will be at NCTM, and we will be doing the same demonstration at NCTM, so I hope to see you there. I will be in our booth. I'm sorry?
And ASCD.
And ASCD, exactly. So I hope to see you there. Please stop by our booth, and I appreciate everybody taking the time today. Thank you.
And just one last quick question. Can you repeat just the parts of the online student assessment system one more time?
The 3 different parts?
Yes.
Sure. There, I'm going to come down here and come back. There's the test generator section. That's where you build your worksheets or tests. Your classes and assignments, that's what I'm in right now. That's where I'm going to create my assignments and enter my students. And then there's the reporting feature, where you could create several reports: proficiency reports, progress reports, assignment reports. There's a question item analysis will tell you how well students did. If the correct answer was A and 50% of my class answered B, then I know that I need to go back and work on that. If that B was a logical common error, I know that I need to go back and work on that skill. So there are many reports that we can create.
And I actually just got one good question, and then we'll cut it off because I know we're over time. In order to prevent cheating, is there a capability to lock the test? Then students can't go online and search for answers at all?
I'm not quite sure where you mean lock. The only, it's a unique URL, so if they have the URL and the password, a student can get online to answer that, but there's the only place that the answers exist are in this online student assessment system. It's a database that's a secure database on our server, so that's where our answers are, and they're not on a website anywhere where students will be posting answers, because first of all, I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, so they're unique questions pretty much.
They're unique questions. They're not available anywhere else online.
Okay. And that's it.
Great. Well, I want to thank everybody again, and please reach out to us should you need any additional information. Like I said, we'll be at ASCD and NCTM, and reach out to your rep, or you can actually visit our preview site, which for our program, where there is additional information. And our preview site for this is sadlier.com/preview, PIMCC. And I will type that in here in case anybody wants to write that down. Sadlier.com/preview, PIMCC. And it'll take you to our program. And here you will find a video on everything that I just discussed today. It's a demo of the online student assessment system. So if you need to recap this, we will be sending out a link to this webinar. It is recorded, but if you'd like to go to our preview site for our program, please feel free to go there, and you see a video as well. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.